a day in your courts is better than any other day I could ever imagine, or even 1,000 unimaginable days. Now I'm wondering, if we ask the disciples, outside of the resurrection, what would be like the best day ever with Jesus? And I don't know what the answer would be. Would it be Peter might say walking on water was pretty cool, or watching Jesus raise the dead? But I'll bet you the Transfiguration must have been in there somewhere. That must have at least been in their top 10. Because here they are, and they see this glimpse of Jesus' absolute glory. And one of the gospel writers says his clothing became like it was bleached. And he became as bright as the sun. And then on top of that, Elijah and Moses are there. And you don't get to see Elijah and Moses every day because they're like Old Testament guys. So Jesus is the one who said, I've come to fulfill the law and the prophets. So there's Moses, the lawgiver, and there's Elijah, the great prophet. And they're discussing Jesus' mission and his journey. And Peter says, in that second reading in verse 4, Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good that we are here. He's saying, this is like one of the best days of my life. So if you wish, I'll make 3 tents here. One for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. Do you hear what he's saying? Let's just stay here. Let's make this something more than a day. Let's just dwell up here. So why? I think there's 2 reasons. I think one of the reasons they want to stay up in this mountain is because what was up there for them? There was this joy of being with Jesus. There was this peace about being in his presence. There's this safety and contentment. And besides that, you get to sit and talk to Moses and Elijah. But I think it was also about the things that weren't up on top of that mountain. There were no pains or problems or trials or temptations, no suffering or shame. There were no Pharisees trying to trick them with questions. There were no Sadducees that were constantly bickering with him. There were no crowds of people demanding that Jesus touch them. There were no hungry crowds to feed. It was like vacation. And they were hoping it would never end. Now, we don't really have the verbal answer of Jesus when Peter said, would it be okay if I built 3 shelters? But when you get to verse 9, you know what the answer is. And when they were coming down the mountain, so in other words, Jesus' answer was, no thanks. No. We're up here for the day. That's it. And we have to go back down the mountain. We have to go back to life.